Let's turn it off for now. Hello. I just purchased my very first vacuum cleaner, and it's a Miele Compact C2 Powerline Allergy vacuum cleaner, and I've done an unboxing video which I'll take you to right now. So after using my landlord's old vacuum cleaner for the past 5 years and having to patch it up every time it breaks or something goes wrong with it, it's an obsolete model now and I can't get spare parts for it, so I thought it would be wise to get my own vacuum cleaner. So having shopped around a bit, I came across this Miele Compact C2 Allergy Powerline. So if you're not familiar with the Compact C2 range, I suggest you check it out online. Now the Allergy model comes with a HEPA filter, which is what my old one had, so I thought it would make sense to get a replacement that had the HEPA filter. Now, just one thing to point out with the Compact C2 range on Miele, if you're watching this video at present, it's June 2016, just be aware because there are some models that have the word Eco in them, so I think they're called Compact C2 Eco Powerline instead of just what you see in the label here. Now the difference is the Eco range only has an 800 watt motor, whereas this one has 1200 watts. It has a 1200 watt motor, although here it says well, let's see if I can focus onto that. It says 800 watt motor, but on the label under the unit it says 1200 watts. So I'm a bit confused with all this, but what we know for sure is the new one has an A rating, I believe, the Eco line one, whereas this one's a D rating, so it must be drawing more power. So I haven't done it yet, but what I'll do is I'll measure the current draw in line to see whether it actually draws 1200 watts or 800 watts, and I'll post that answer in the comments below. Now this unit is yellow in color. I don't know why the box shows a white unit, but if you get a white Allergy Compact C2 model, then that would be the Eco line range with the 800 watt motor. So this one is the older one with the yellow body. And of course all this reduction in consumption is due to the new EU regulations, which are really forcing vacuum cleaner manufacturers to make their machines more and more efficient as the years go by. So while my older vacuum cleaner was 2200 watts, and this appears to be a huge drop, but again, this is we have to realize that just because it's a lot less, it draws a lot less current, it doesn't mean that it is less powerful. So one thing about this box is I found very ingenious is that there's a cutout here which exposes the handle of the unit. So to transport it around from the shop, I actually bought this at Argos, so I was carrying it like that. So you actually stick your hand in the box and grab hold of the unit's handle and carry it around like that. That way you're supporting the weight of the unit, and the unit is then supporting the weight of the box. Anyway, enough about that. So why Miele? Well, because it's a German product and it's made in Germany, so it's very high quality, and it's cheaper than some of the other premium brands out there like Dyson, which isn't even made in Europe. So Miele is one of those brands that you can't really go wrong with. These ones come with a 2-year guarantee, but you could extend it to 8 years. Buy another 8 years, so you get 10 years guarantee if you wanted to. There is an extension that can be purchased for £50 on their website. Now, one last thing I want to say is that this model is very difficult to find here in the UK. It's available on Miele's website for 270 quid, but that's a bit overpriced. I actually got this at Argos for just 170 quid. So if you're looking for this specific model, then definitely check Argos out, because everywhere else they seem to be selling the red one, which is the cat and dog version of this unit, which comes with a turbo brush for picking up lint rather than one which is suitable for carpet and hard floors. I think it's a bit confusing, but maybe it will be a bit clearer once I unbox this. And it's also worth noting that the red one, which looks exactly like that, which is the made for cat and dog owners, doesn't come with a HEPA filter, but it comes with an Active Air Plus filter, which is basically a charcoal filter. And I think a HEPA one would be better for me, since I live in a carpeted flat and I haven't got pets. So let's go ahead and unbox this, and I'll just pause this video now to save your time, and I'll okay, so let's go ahead and open up the accessories box. So these are what comes with this unit, and as you would expect, it doesn't come with the turbo brush unit that comes with the cat and dog version. So instead it comes with this all-tech unit for hard floors and carpets, which is pretty standard. Yes, they can be selected like that. But the one thing I noticed with this is, and again, because this is my first vacuum cleaner purchase, is that I think you can hear that there's hardly any play in the joints. So I guess that provides a very good seal to keep any vacuum leaks out of the system. So it feels like the mechanism is flush against each other, and there's no play in them. And one other advantage that Miele vacuum cleaners come with is all the accessories click into place with clips, sprung clips on every piece of connector, so they're not held in place by friction, but they all snap into place very well, and that also helps to minimize the vacuum leak in the system. And let's go ahead and take a look at this first. Now this is a what appears to be a very high quality telescopic tube. Now of course it takes two hands to operate this. So I'm going to extend the unit. Now, okay, so I've extended this now, and I noticed that this is again very high quality. It fits very well, fits together very well, and there's hardly any play in it. It feels quite tight and it doesn't get stuck. And each time I depress the button, the tube slides in and out with no problem, whereas my older one gets stuck sometimes because the notch doesn't, the mechanism doesn't really retract fully, so it still gets caught on the notches. So anyway, let's move on. And this is of course just the tube that connects the hose to whatever accessory that is used. Right, okay, so that's again to reduce the vacuum suction power at the front by letting air into the system. So that snaps into place as well. And this is the holder for the 3 brush head accessories. And the good thing about this Miele system is that this can be hooked onto the end of the hose, so it's very convenient because you'll always have it with you when wherever you drag the unit to. Now that's the manual and the standard EU energy rating sticker. Right, now this here is what I believe is a standard floor head unit that comes with every model of the C2 Compact series, and maybe even the normal C2 series. But anyway, this is a very basic floor head that I don't really need, because all it does is, and I'll open it up real quick, all it does is it only does hard floors, because as you can see the bristles are all out permanently and they can't be retracted. I suspect, and I could be wrong, but I suspect this is what comes with the cat and dog version of the unit for people who want to use that one on hard floors, and for carpets you would use the turbo brush that comes with that. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up again because I wouldn't be needing it. So I'm going to stop the video now, and I'm going to remove the unit from the box for resuming record. Now remember the yellow handle that was visible through the box at the start of the video? This is where it's exposed from. This cut out here in the polystyrene end of it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the unit from all this packaging. So here's the unit, and once again, with all this German construction and design, you get really high quality stuff with a very practical design philosophies. So here's the exhaust from where the hot used air comes out from, and with that kind of design you can use the unit standing up like that, where else my old vacuum cleaner had the exhaust here, so you couldn't do that. So underneath you get pivoting casters that rotate 360, or rather swivel 360 degrees, so you can easily move this around. And here there are notches to store the hose and the accessories, which I'll demonstrate right at the end of this video. So let's go ahead and open this up to see what's inside. But before we do that, let's take a look at what we have here. This is a very basic rotary knob, because this is a cheap model from Miele. So the higher end ones would have more advanced control that can be operated from foot or from the handle of the accessory thingy. But this one is a very basic one. So this is one of the USPs of this unit, and it's called the Comfort Rewind System. I don't know why they call it this, because it seems to do the same thing as what other makes would do. But the one thing I like about this design is there is a cutout here that catches the 3-pin plug when it's rewound into the unit, so it goes in there and it fits in nicely. So this is just a power control, if you haven't already figured out, but of course it's marked with all these symbols to help people decide which power setting to use. So that's for curtains, and which is the quietest and least powerful mode, and that's kind of quiet mode, and as you go up clockwise it gets more and more powerful. So let's go ahead and open it up real quick. There's a release notch here that's in black, so you push that, pull the unit open, or rather pull the lid open, and here's the HEPA filter, which I was explaining at the start of this video. So if I lift this up from the unit, now once again the cat and dog version will come with an active air filter with a charcoal filter. But this, I was told by Miele's customer support representative that these filters are interchangeable between units, so you could get a cat and dog model and purchase this HEPA filter separately and stick it in there if you wanted, or likewise you use the active air filter in this one, or even the cheap air filter that comes with the basic model. So another USP of this range is it's got something called a time strip, which is basically a chemical pellet and a chemically treated strip of paper there. So you press this down, it breaks a capsule and the chemical leaks in, and the strip turns color over time. So you know once the whole strip is colored, or once it reaches that line there, then it's time to replace this filter. Now I believe this lasts for a year, so that's 12 months, and they cost about 35 quid. So it's really the running cost isn't a concern to me. So one thing I want to point out is these filters have a very nice seal here that's made of either rubber or silicone, and that seal kind of mates properly with this the edges of the enclosure, and that prevents air leaking through the sides of the unit, and that makes sure all the air has to pass through the filter element. So that's obviously where obviously the air outlet, and this is the air intake here. So this is the other good thing about this model that I like. It uses the high clean FJM bag filter model. So to use it, it's quite simple. Remove it up. This one, this is a pre-motor filter that I believe is interchangeable as well. And this bag actually, the lid springs closed on its own. It's got a plastic lid with a proper spring mechanism, whereas the cheaper ones, like my older vacuum cleaner, just had a cardboard cutout, which you have to seal manually by pulling on the tab at the end of its life. Now with this design, it seals itself the moment this lid is open. So okay, that's it for this the unboxing of this unit, and I apologize if it took a bit longer than I had wanted the video to take, but there's quite a bit to cover, and I know my videos are a bit lengthy, so I'm working on that, and I'll try to make sure that as I make new ones in the future, I'll find ways to sort of consolidate everything into shorter videos. So that's just a power switch, and that's obviously just the indicator, the suction power indicator, to tell you when the filter bag is full, which comes standard on most vacuum cleaners anyway. So just one last thing I wanted to say is I realized that a lot of the things I've pointed out with this model may actually be common on most vacuum cleaners out there anyway, but because I don't really shop around much for these things, I have not done much research myself, and came across this one and I like it. Okay, so this is the just before I stopped recording, this is the label, sticker label that I was referring to. So clearly it says 1100 watts and a maximum of 1200 watts. I guess that varies depending on the rotary switch setting for the RPM of the motor. And here it clearly says made in Germany. So yeah, very good quality construction, very good materials. These things wouldn't damage your walls or anything like that. Yeah, very well designed, very well built. So as promised, here's the unit once again in its storage configuration. As you can see, this whole thing can be stored as a single unit. The floor head attaches, or rather slots into this notch here on the side of the body, and likewise the end of the extension tube does as well. And this accessory head holder snaps into place at the end of the hose as well, so you always have all these accessories with you wherever you drag this unit to. Okay, I've just started using the unit, and I must say that the suction power is very, very impressive, even though my old one was rated at 2200 watts and this one only has 1200 watts motor, but the suction power on this thing is many times greater than that of the older Dirt Devil unit. And I had to check and double check a couple of times to make sure that I've set everything up correctly, and as far as I can see, everything is in place. The HEPA filter is in place, the filter bag is in place, so it's not that I've left the filter uninstalled, and I'm not even running this thing at the maximum power setting. As you can see, that's a maximum setting for hard floors, and I've set it to that for carpet. And the suction power is so great that as I move the head over the carpet, it's actually it tries to pull the carpet up from its base, and all that comes from a very quiet motor that spins up softly. So I'll demonstrate it just very quickly here. See, it spins up very slowly, and you see that the head actually pulls the carpet upwards, and it takes quite a bit of strength to drag this along the carpet as I use it. Whew. So it is very powerful. I might have to use it on a lower setting, and when I was shopping around for a vacuum cleaner, I was worried that it may not be powerful enough because my old one's rated at 2200 watts. So clearly they've made huge leaps in making these motors more and more efficient. So I guess this whole EU power regulation is really to push manufacturers to make their units more and more efficient. And it's pretty much like what's happening with Formula One and other car industries. The government makes the sets a limit on the engine size, and that forces the manufacturers to make things a lot more powerful with a lot smaller engine. So this is again an example. So it's, in a way, it's good that the government has set all these regulations in place, because now we've got brilliant units like this. So right now I'm thinking maybe the Ecoline model that comes with an 800 watt motor would be sufficient for most people's use. So don't think that just because a motor is smaller, they'll be underpowered to do its job. It's certainly not the case these days with one of these units.